This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. If you want to see what the digital hell surveillance state looks like and how we're actually helping the deep state build it out by complying and going along with these cool new gadgets that they keep putting out there where we think that it's for our benefit, but it's really to create a surveillance state. You see, they always dupe you into thinking that they're going to make a surveillance state this way, they're going to bring in martial law that way. But really, we're the ones bringing it in because we continue to go along with their new technology to entertain ourselves, right? And the latest is the Meta smart glasses. I've covered these before, the Ray-Ban glasses that Meta released. Well, how horrifying is this? This is what the surveillance state looks like. College students at Harvard, of course, an Ivy League school, and this is out there by design. People out there shouldn't be worried about it because when they put this stuff out there, it doesn't result in people getting away from technology. It just results in people going for about 5 minutes and then continuing on with their day, forgetting about it and becoming desensitized to what technology is doing to all of us. So it doesn't matter that a story like this is out. It's not going to make people burn their Meta glasses. It isn't going to make people deactivate their Facebook accounts. It isn't going to make people go live off grid. It's going to do nothing. That's the problem. So college students use Meta's smart glasses to do what? Oh, to dox people in real time. That's right. Because remember, the data that they want, we're giving to them. All the stuff we're putting on the internet, everything that we type in, everything we say, including a video like this, right, is giving data into the internet, which is giving data to the government, right? So all of our personal stuff on top of all of our thoughts is inside of the internet, right? Talking about uploading your consciousness, we're literally all pretty much doing it. Until we all break away from the internet fully, we're all guilty of it. And that includes myself for being here and even talking on this platform. But I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this until I break away or before I break away from it. I'm kind of waiting for it to get to the point where the digital ID is implemented, and then I bow out and move away. But anyway, people are walking around with these Meta glasses on, and they're able to get a person's personal details walking the street, their home addresses. So in other words, you're walking down the road with these on, and somebody else walks by. And because of the facial recognition, because you've uploaded your picture to Facebook, right? You've uploaded your picture to Facebook. You might have your address over in Google somewhere, right? The glasses are able to scan the person's face. And this is a person who put their picture on Facebook, but they never thought about this. They're just like, I put it up there so I can interact with my third cousins over in another country and show them pictures of my kid at a picnic and pictures of my fingernails, right? This is how they baited everybody into this stupid human activity known as social media. Oh, yeah, you got to connect with your friends. Oh, let everybody see what you're doing. And now everybody just, pretty much everything they do is based off social media. They won't admit it because they're narcissists. Right? But when they go into these events, you ever see these cookie cutter families, right? They go to pumpkin picking and do all this stuff. And they're really just going so they can have a photo op. They're already thinking about it beforehand. Oh, yeah, we're going to take the picture here. Then I'm going to upload it tonight. I'm going to write this. And then they sit there and wait for everybody to comment and everybody to heart them up and they feel great. Then the next day they go about it again because that's the world today, right? But when they upload stuff, most people don't even realize why the government wants you to upload all this stuff. Right? So now everybody's got everything up there. They've waited 20 years. They're like, look, see, nothing's happened. At first, people were like, oh, I'm uploading a picture of myself. Look, I didn't turn into fire. I didn't take the mark of the beast. I didn't, that was kind of the mindset, right? At first, everybody was very timid about it. They're like, I don't know if I want to upload this or upload that. But then as they feel safer and safer as time goes by and the government just sits back and waits for everybody to get addicted to this crap, then they start going, oh yeah, by the way, now that you're addicted and you won't get away from it, check this out. And they go, oh look, somebody walks down the street wearing these Meta smart glasses. How is this legal? Don't ask me. And they look at somebody and their face is recognized by the lens in the glasses/camera, and now on the screen, almost like being a Terminator. How's that for predictive programming, right? When the Terminator looks and he sees and it scans and it says the guy's name. Oh, now he knows who this stranger is and he knows where he lives. So, if you could be some creep, like in today's world, we have a lot of creeps, right? We have men who are just completely creepy and we have women who hate men and we have all sorts of chaos going on where nobody's normal anymore. So a guy's probably walking the streets, he could see a beautiful woman. Instead of going up to her and maybe taking her on a date, they have all these sick thoughts in their heads because the internet's nothing but a sick place. And now he has this woman's address. The next thing you know, you hear about it on a true crime channel, right? So for those of you that don't know, here is a look at this terrifying technology where these Meta glasses, which should be fully illegal, Where are the laws? And it's not even about, oh, let's sue Facebook. These are things that you should look at, and you should say to yourself, we need to get off the internet now. We need to get off technology now, because that's the only thing that could stop this locomotive, this new world order from moving forward, is if we all get offline and get off the technology. And they know that we won't. That's why they're moving forward. That's why the last 20 years, they've allowed everybody to do all this stuff online, get addicted to it, because they know after all that time and all that conditioning that it's nearly going to be impossible for people to go back to the way things were. But guess what? We're going to have to if we want to survive what's coming. This is the horrifying surveillance state that's being created around us.
Let's start with a story that's just come out this week of 2 Harvard students in the US who've hacked Meta's Ray-Ban glasses in order to turn them into makeshift facial recognition systems, right? So all you have to do is look at someone and it will pull up information on that person about who they are, where they live, what their phone number is, and a lot more. Take a look.
We built glasses that let you identify anybody on the street. The information our tool collects from just a photo of your face is staggering.
To use it, you just put the glasses on, then as you walk by people, the glasses will detect when somebody's face is in frame. This photo is used to analyze them, and after a few seconds, their personal information pops up on your phone.
Hi, ma'am. Wait, are you Betsy?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think I met you through like the Cambridge Community Foundation, right? Yeah. It's great to meet you. I'm Kane.
Now, you might be wondering what that's got to do with artificial intelligence. Like with many applications, it's just making things easier and faster. A lot of this technology was already available, but what they've done is basically create a system which essentially takes a photo of someone's face, and then it uses the internet to search for that face and pulls up lots of URLs, and then those URLs are fed into a large language model which passes through all of those different web pages and pulls out all the personal information and connections it can possibly find to bring up a profile of this person. Now, if you think you're safe from this because you don't put your personal information like your phone number and your address online, well, unfortunately, there have been a lot of big leaks and hacks over the years that have caused lots of people's personal information to be put into databases on the internet, and it does use some of these databases as well. So it just shows how powerful the use of AI can be when applied to something like this. Meta has told 404 Media that this is a breach of their terms of service, but it's just more evidence for people who are calling for more regulation on something like virtual reality systems. The tech itself keeps getting more and more sleek. We've seen 2 weeks ago Meta announce its project prototype Orion, which are the most sort of discrete, slimline virtual reality glasses they've ever developed. So it's just showing now that a lot can be done with just a pair of glasses like the ones I'm wearing already.
It's slightly terrifying, and if some students can do it, very smart students, imagine what in the wrong hands this could look like. Okay, so this is not the only scandal that you're bringing us today. You've got another one involving AI-generated music. Yeah,
that's right. Let's take a quick listen to some of it now. Okay, so obviously...
Not the best thing I've heard of.
we know because we've said it's AI-generated music. We're talking about AI. We know that it's AI-generated. But if this were just to come up on your Spotify playlist that you're listening to in the background and you've got a similar music theme you're listening to, I don't think many people would notice straight away, and that's exactly what a man called Michael Smith was alleged to be exploiting when he pulled off a massive scam that US prosecutors are alleging he's pulled off. So he generated tens of thousands of fake accounts to listen to hundreds of thousands of fake songs that he put across lots of different streaming platforms, all of which were generated by AI, the music, the titles of the songs, the names of the artists, and he used these to stream these songs literally billions of times. And from 2018 to this year, he generated more than $10 million in royalty revenue from these streaming platforms. So that's what's in the indictment that's been unsealed by US prosecutors. He's faced with facing 3 charges now, which each carry 20 years in prison, including wire fraud and money laundering. I think what's crazy to me is that this scheme started in 2018, as I said. That's a long time ago in terms of AI, and things have got so much better and more convincing since then. I also just love to point out a few of the names of the artists. Some of them could genuinely be actual band names: Callous Humane, Calm Knuckles, Calvin Man. Some of them are a bit weirder. You've got things like Calliope, Erratum, Camel Edible, and Calorie Event. I think that one's definitely going to be what my lunch will be like after this, Charlie. It'll be a major calorie event, I think.
All right, fake listeners, but a lot of real money at stake there. Yeah. Okay, so you've also brought us a study that shows how AI can be used for good to tackle conspiracy theories.
Yeah, this is quite a positive story. It was a study published in Science, and the researchers took more than 2,000 self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists. So people in the US who, for instance, don't believe the moon landing actually happened, believe the COVID-19 vaccine gave us all microchips, or believe in UFO visitation. So amazingly, on average, each of these people, after talking to a ChatGPT, which had been told to convince them that they were wrong, about 20% of them, most of them on average reduced their belief in this conspiracy theory by about 20%. And that actually persisted several months after the study was finished. So it did seem like, according to this piece of research, that they were able to permanently reduce these people's belief in these conspiracy theories. So that is, for instance, I think something we can say is quite a positive use of AI, particularly given the rise of conspiracy theories in young people.
Oh, that looks great, right? That looks like fun, right? You know, you could see somebody on the... How about, you're just wearing these things and somebody bumps you or gives you a dirty look, right? I mean, this is literally doxing out in the open, getting all this stuff. But what's most frightening about it is that we've all willingly participated in putting our information online. And every one of us is guilty because we're all online right now. So we can't sit here and be hypocrites. I will not be a hypocrite on my channel. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and say like, well, I'm talking all this stuff, but then I'm putting up videos. I'm putting up videos to try to help people. I'm not doing this for my own ego. I'm not doing this so I could boast. Okay, I'm doing this to try to help people because I don't want to see this go any further than it's already gone. And every day this world's getting worse, and I feel it, and you feel it, and I see these kids out there, and I feel it when I see them. Because these are human beings that are being literally groomed into this behavior by these wicked, demonic entities that are creating the tech, who are getting all, responsible for the behavior that people are out there copying and duplicating because the celebrities are pushing them. So it breaks my heart and it makes me ill. But I don't know how much longer I could take it either. So the 2 Harvard students developed a program for Ray-Ban's Meta smart glasses that can be used to identify an individual and obtain access to their personal information, no big deal, including their home address, right? So the engineering students at the Ivy League school, I'm sure they're a member of the secret societies at the Ivy League schools as well, because, stories like this only get out if they want them out there anyway. And you might say, well, why would they want that out there? Well, because this is what the world's going to be like. This is going to be normal. You might say right now that that's crazy, but this is how it all works. If I told you in 1980 that in the year 2000 you have a phone in your pocket and it wouldn't be connected to a wire in the wall in your kitchen, you would have said I was crazy then, right? Well, this is how it works. They desensitize you to it. You see it, everybody sees this story and they're gasping going, holy crap, that's scary. In 10 years, nobody will care. In 10 years, people will say, what's the big deal? What are you hiding? Oh, big deal, I have your address. Big deal. Big deal. Well, we have all this smart technology now, so you'll be safe in your home and protected by AI governance, right? This is getting you ready for it. That's all it is. That's all that it is. Nothing comes of it because nobody's going to push back the way that they need to push back. They want you to think that people like me are calling for violence and calling for you to do this and take action. That's what they want you to do. The way to stop this locomotive is to pull out of it, to step back from it. It is literally the technology that is enslaving us. It is literally the technology that gives them the control to do this. Nothing else. Just imagine if we didn't have the technology. You think they'd have the control and the capability to do the things that they're doing right now? They would not be able to control people's minds the way they're controlling them, which means we wouldn't have people who are castrating themselves all around the earth right now. We wouldn't have people even thinking thoughts like that. We wouldn't have people who are doing that to their own kids, right? That wouldn't be a thing in today's society. We certainly wouldn't have the government having the ability to freeze bank accounts or censor speech or even condition people into thinking things like hate speech are real. They wouldn't have any of this control without the tech. They don't want you to know that. And they don't think you will notice it. And on top of that, if you do, they don't think you have what it takes to pull out. They don't think you have what it takes to step back and say, you know what? Getting off grid. Because even if a small portion of us do, that's the problem. If a small portion of us do, you're sitting ducks for a Waco-like event, right? We all get offline and we go live somewhere. They're monitoring that. Don't you think they're targeting the Amish right now? They are, with these chemical bombs and other things. We see how the Amish are under attack from the federal government, trying to get their chicken supply, their food supply, saying that it's contaminated this and that, trying to cut it all off. Okay, so if something occurred and we were just like, hey, 10,000 of us are going to live in Idaho somewhere. Well, guess what? The government would know that. And then the government would put propaganda out there saying that 10,000 people went to Idaho, they're extremists, they're anti-government, and then they would go there with a tank and they would kill all of us. What it would take is everyone's participation, Democrat, Republican, all these people out there who complain about mental health and depression. Where do you think it all comes from? It all comes from the technology. What do you think? Why do you think if you think back 100 years ago, people weren't offing themselves? Okay, maybe some people did because something may have happened. They may have lost a loved one, may not have been able to live with themselves. Okay, how about at the rate that it's happening now? How about depression in general? You hear people do, you look back at stories of people, and again, we can only take it with a grain of salt, stories of people from the past. But you hear stories of somebody from like the 1800s. Were they writing in their letters, I'm so depressed, I have panic attacks and anxiety? No, they weren't, because it wasn't even a thing. It didn't exist. Right? Now we just look at it, we're like, oh yeah, what did people do back then? Well, they didn't have these problems. Why didn't they have these problems? Because there was no technology. It wasn't causing these things. They weren't thinking this way. They weren't thinking about depression. They had a day where they just were tired. Okay, they were just tired. They weren't suicidal. They weren't depressed. I mean, this is all stuff that the government is putting into our heads, planting seeds, and the technology is just enhancing the psychosis going on around us. So back to the technology. So the technology, which is dubbed iX-ray, some dude could just come and find some girl's address on the train and just follow them home, which is absolutely frightening, especially in today's society. If you look at how unhinged people are. The Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses can record up to 3 minutes of video. The iRay program works by uploading the footage from the glasses to PimEyes, a facial recognition tool that uses AI to match a recorded face to any public available image on the internet. iX-ray then prompts another AI tool that scours public databases to retrieve personal details about the individual in the image, including their name, address, phone number, and even information about relatives. This information is sent to the iX-ray mobile app. And again, can I emphasize enough how we've all consented to this? People out there are like, oh man, I didn't consent. We're all consenting to it by being on the internet. We're all consenting to this stuff. And the majority, everybody out there who votes, you're consenting to this. Okay, just want to make that really, really clear. So we don't have to consent anymore. We just got to go back to an old way of living. They don't want you to think like that, of course, because then they lose total control over you. So this technology you have to keep in mind, okay? Because you look at it, you're like, oh, well, it's just the Ray glasses. What kind of dork, who's wearing these things? Okay, this is just a step in the next direction. You think people eventually are going to still be using the watches, the Apple Watch? This is all underneath the skin, okay? This is all underneath the skin. Don't forget Apple lenses, okay, is the other the other transition from the glasses to the lenses. Eventually, it's all in your body. We're talking Neuralink type technology that's in you. You'll see this stuff out of your own eyes, out of your own quote unquote Oculus, that eye that they love so much. So that's what this is headed towards. So this is just a frightening reality that we're living in, right? People consenting, allowing it. We're all just as guilty for participating and even being on the internet. I'm not going to be a hypocrite about it. I'm just not. Everybody needs to look at stories like this, and instead of just going, something needs to be done about it. And it's not a lawsuit against Zuckerberg, because first of all, you're never going to win a lawsuit against big tech, period. Which is why, people out there have asked me, like, why don't you do something? You're Christian, they're clearly going against you. Well, you think I'm going to win a lawsuit? Read their books, read the protocols of the elders of you-know-who. Okay? They control the courts. Everybody knows that who has common sense. They control everything. You're going to win a lawsuit. It's not about, how much money do I have to put in to sue them in a court? It will get thrown in the garbage can. You will not ever get them in court and defeat them in court, period. But that's not how you defeat people in today's world. They always want you to think that you defeat people in a courtroom. You defeat people by not participating in their nonsense, by living a life where they can't meddle anymore in your business, right? The only reason they can meddle in our day-to-day lives is because of the tech. That's why they've taken more and more and more. It's because they're meddling because we're there listening and we're there participating. Right? What do you think? If you live off grid, they're going to come knock on your, maybe they will. But guess what? They're not going to be able to influence your family and influence you the way they can influence everybody now with their propaganda. So while people will look at this and just go, oh, the whole point is to desensitize you. So 10 years from now, you don't even remember a story like this. 2 days from now, you probably won't even remember it. People out there, again, they hear it and they don't even realize that they're the ones who are putting all this information onto the internet, right? They're putting their face, they're putting their address, all that stuff we've allowed them to put online, which should be illegal in some cases because people out there, even if you didn't consent, right? Even if you're somebody who doesn't have social media, like I don't have personal social media, but if you're somebody out there, right? Say you're a 70-year-old woman, and you've never used the internet. Your personal info is on the internet. Like, you could look this person's address up and find it on Zillow or somewhere, find out who owns it, how old they are, and that should be illegal. How much your home is worth, all this type of stuff I've seen people look up, and it's like, whose business is any of this? Oh, this is their home. This is when they bought it. This is what they've done to the home. This is their property tax. You ever seen some of this stuff that's out there? This should be illegal, and we allow them to just do stuff like this. It makes people targets too, and it gives people's personal information away. It's all because of this wonderful thing created at CERN called the internet. So people will get desensitized. They'll hear this at first. They'll gasp, and they'll continue about posting on the internet, posting on the internet, posting on the internet. And 10 years from now, when they're walking down the road and they can look you in the eyes, cut you off on a street, look somebody in the eyes and say, who has just cut me off? Get their address, get their personal information, get pictures of them all presented to you on a nice little bow on top. All because we've all conformed and consented to pretty much being on the internet of bodies. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.